I was at my old flat on the shore, and I got the record of Bitches Brew that day, and then I got super zooted, went on the communal couch at like midnight to about 5 a.m., and I played the album for that entirety. And then the second it rolled over to the fifth time I played it, I was like, okay, this is my favorite album ever made.
After listening to it
Four times through, and the fifth time I was
Damn.
like, boom, that's it. But like, yeah, I mean, jazz is just fantastic, and I mean, the creative expression from it, especially with my saxophone playing, is just unparalleled. Like, I love bass and I love guitar. Oh, pardon me. And I love, metal, and I love rock and all of these things. But I feel like a lot of the purest expressions I've ever put out are from just jazz and the freedom of jazz. And there's like the Spinal Tap, the Spinal Tap meme where it's like, oh, what is it? It's like, why are you afraid? You play jazz. Why are you so afraid of structure? Why are you so afraid of music and being conventional? Why is it so scary for you? And it's like, yeah, you're right. but
I think incorporating jazz elements into, well, any type of musical genre, doesn't matter what it is, especially as a guitar player, is amazing. Like, I love, I've done a little bit of jazz guitar, not heaps, but one of the things I loved was just all the different chords and the different funny,
ridiculous,
like funny chords to strange chord progressions to like out of the box ideas. And then it's sort of like that no note is a bad note thing, which with the music that I like to, if I'm writing, I really like that because it's like, well, I don't know. So let me see what I try, and then if it's a mistake, it might be a great one. You don't know. And I think it's really good to have that thinking rather than like if you're just purely pop. Like there's just like, okay, there's C, G, A, D, and then it's like this changes slightly, and then it's like that's really boring. And you know what else does that as well? I said this on the podcast with the Capricorn Boys was classical music.
Yes.
Same thing. It's
Yeah,
like,
man.
here are the rules, here are the conventions. Don't get out of it. Like, this is what you're playing to. Like, because before you even, I remember when I was doing like a course in music, it was like, oh, here's the key, here's the time signature, here's where it might change, and here's the main motif. Now,
change.
right within that, and it's like this. It's a cool exercise, but it kind of sucks.
Yeah, bro.
If that's how you're always doing it. Whereas jazz, like, completely goes, flips it up, and it's like, there's no rules, bro. We're gonna speed up in bar 72, and we're gonna change this over here. And I mean, like, I find that really interesting. But it's nice to be able to have experience in all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you take experience from all of it, you can grab all the parts that you like, and then you can put that in your own music, like what you're doing, which is great.
Yeah, man.
Because like I listen to that song Kaiju, and like that big intro, and then you stop. For like, was it 5 seconds or something?
Like 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah. I cracked up. I was just like, I thought this song was 4 minutes. And then it like comes back, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
And did you guys record that song to a click?
No.
I was gonna say
No.
you couldn't have recorded that to a click.
No, man. I mean, no.
Yeah. No, I was just listening, and I was just like, because the push and pull elements of the dynamics and the speed, I was like, this really sounds like it was not one take, but
Oh, definitely not one take, man.
yeah, not one take, but you know what I mean.
Me
like
and Rory wanted to kill each other at the end of those sessions, I swear to God.
Yeah, well, to do that sort of music and not to have a click, like click is kind of like safety. In a way, keeping things on the grid and all
Well, it's
that
like the
stuff.
live click at rock shows. Like I'm sure when Queens of the Stone Age were here, phenomenal show. Love that show. They definitely had like
click,
ideas.
yeah.
100%.
Have a click, yeah.
Even though they're considered pretty loose rock, and like Songs for the Deaf is completely just all over the place at times. But like they still have it. Like you're right, it's definitely the safety part. But like recording what we did, we just felt like the best thing to do was just stay to the drums, get the drums, put it through, make that, well, not mix it first because there's nothing to mix it to, but make it like at least cohesive, and then play the song to the best of what we already know how to do. So like, yeah, I mean, we're doing that with most of the songs when we're going to record them. I'm not going to say when because I like the surprise.
Yeah,
But
nice.
yeah, no, drums first is how we like to do it for sure. And that can even be, writing, and a lot of contemporary jazz, I believe, likes to do that as well. They like the rhythm to be that solid and down. It's either the bass finds the chords first or the drums are already like pad out. Like I know that my favorite type of jazz, which is spiritual free jazz,
What's spiritual free jazz?
See, this is the best part. I love talking about my favorite genres because people are like, huh?
No,
What
is this
the
like
fuck?
the spiritual parts? Like, are you saying most jazz isn't spiritual?
I mean, okay, all right. You can't. All jazz can be spiritual. I think jazz in itself is one of the most important landmarking creative ideas that anyone's ever had in history. I'm jealous I didn't come up with it myself. But spiritual jazz is particularly large orchestration, incredibly lush, long pieces. So like the one I mentioned, Karma by Pharoah Sanders, the album is about 40 minutes, but one of those songs is about half an hour, called The Creator Has the Master Plan. And it's so lush. Like, it's like you're flying through the Himalayas lush because of the orchestration. And that's where the spiritual term got coined, because it's like an out-of-body audio experience. And then the free part is when they go kooky crazy and just like, oh, what's the key? I don't care. It's you know, I love doing that. But part of that, yeah, so the spiritual free jazz of that, a lot of that comes from the rhythm first, rather than like the theory and the chords. Because again, like the chords are just there to be like landmarking or like grounding. Grounding. But the rhythm is always going to be the part of like, this is the time sig. This is where the drums will be. This is the drums, what they're doing. They will go off beat, but they're going to be a pulse. There's always a pulse. Because a lot of the time people try that with like super free noise, whatever jazz. And it doesn't work because they have no grounding. And don't get me wrong, sometimes no grounding is great, but not the whole time. Because the whole time it just goes, you know, shit. Like, I think it's boring.
If you get on those tangents where there's like, you need some kind of plan.
Yeah.
You need a little bit of a plan.